I'm so self-aware, and like no matter what, like just not, it's not right. It doesn't feel right, and it's like I give it a shot and I give it a whole lot of time and I push past the feelings of like this doesn't feel right, and I try, and it's exhausting. I know how I should be treated. I know how a relationship should be, and I look for that, but I'm also looking for the feeling. I can't not have that. And I feel like it's not too much to ask to want to be treated right and want to be emotionally compatible with someone and be in love with them. To feel a spark, a real connection. Why can't I have both of those things?
I will tell you why you can't have both of those things. It's because your brain has been fried by the validation and the hookups. Okay, guys, it is hilarious to me. You have this woman here who says that she's incredibly self-aware. And so what she's doing is she's struggling to date because, of course, the men that will commit to her are not as exciting. There's no connection with those men. This is what happens when you engage in hookup culture, especially as a woman, and you go out there and you hook up with a bunch of dudes. When it comes time for you to quote unquote settle down, you're always going to be thinking about, oh, what I could have had. Okay, I miss those highly attractive men. Why can't my boyfriend be like that? My boyfriend's only 5'9". He doesn't make as much money as this other guy that I used to have a situationship with. And that is why, you can't have both of those things in your mind. It's because your perception has been absolutely fried by social media, the dudes you match with, and the men that you've hooked up with. But guys, it is Taylor the Fiend back again. And on today's episode, we are going to be kicking it off with a clip from this woman who, in the intro, of course, said that she was incredibly self-aware. So let's jump into her video. Let's see what the problem is. Do not forget to leave your thoughts and your comments as well. And make sure you subscribe if you are new here. Let's take a listen.
I've kind of hit this point where I feel like I don't have the energy to date anymore. It's like I have been in love twice in my life, and both times have been horrible. Like, we fought 24/7, and it was such like a toxic thing that like it was never going to work out. Anytime I feel like I find something that isn't that, I don't feel what I'm supposed to feel.
Right. Okay, so if you don't have a toxic relationship, then you don't have the actual feelings that you need, if I'm understanding that correctly. Now, this is just, that just sounds like modern women in a nutshell. Okay, so many of these women, it's funny because they tell us to be nice as men, they tell us to be chivalrous and do all of the manly, masculine things, right? Pay for the dinner bill, do X, Y, Z, all of that crap, be the leader. But men who overly invest into women, who treat them right, who tick all of the boxes and do things the way they're supposed to, these men oftentimes get treated like trash. The women are oftentimes not attracted to these men. And what you find out is that women respond to who they are attracted to. That's really the base of it. But I want you guys to notice again how the woman doesn't actually get into any of the real reasons why the relationships might not work out. Like, women love to keep this crap super vague because it removes accountability from them. As soon as you start to get actual information about why these relationships imploded, the picture starts to look a lot different. But let's continue.
And it's like, I can like deep dive into that as much as I want, of like me only having experienced toxic love, so feeling like it's wrong when it's not, or whatever. But like, I'm so self-aware, and like no matter what, like it's not right. It doesn't feel right, and it's like I give it a shot and I give it a whole lot of time and I push past the feelings of like this doesn't feel right.
So what she's describing here, guys, is going out there and dating men and then seeing if she becomes attracted to him over time. So what will happen, right, is women will get their hearts broken by chads. They'll go out there, they'll date the bad boys. We all know this. And so then what they do when they want a relationship, they realize that they can't lock these men down, is they quote unquote lower their standards. Okay, so they might go after the guy who's not as tall, maybe doesn't have the jawline that she wants, maybe doesn't make as much money. And wouldn't you know it, she's not attracted to those men. She tries to make herself attracted to those men, but she can't. Again, why? Because she's so used to dating the dudes who are, quite frankly, typically out of her damn league. You know? Like, this is the equivalent of like a dude going out there and hooking up with a bunch of supermodels, you know? And then at the end of it, you know, being told that he has to marry someone who's, you know, doesn't match that level. He has to be with a woman who doesn't match that particular level. Now, obviously, dudes don't have that problem because men get hit by reality more often than women do, significantly more often. But that's the reason, you know, these women, they get completely fried. They think they're deserving of a certain quality of man. They might get a bunch of hookups from a guy who's like 6'3", highly attractive and so on. So when they go to have a relationship with a guy who maybe is not 6'3", maybe doesn't have the jawline, maybe doesn't have the physique and so on, she's not going to feel attraction for him. She's essentially ruined her dopamine receptors to a degree.
And I try, and it's exhausting. I know how I should be treated. I know how a relationship should be. And I look for that. But I'm also looking for the feeling. I can't not have that. And I feel like it's not too much to ask to want to be treated right and want to be emotionally compatible with someone and be in love with them. To feel a spark, a real connection.
This is where women start to talk a bunch of BS, okay? So what she's saying here, this is where it gets really muddy and people get confused. So this woman is saying, oh, I need a man to treat me right. I need that connection. When women say that crap, they're not actually talking about a man who will treat them right. What they're talking about is they need a man who they are physically attracted to. Connection equals physical attraction. Okay? When women are sitting here saying, oh, I need this good treatment, I need a man to treat me right. Wrong. What they want is for the man that they're highly attracted to treat them quote unquote right. But he doesn't need to. This guy who's highly attractive, who you chase in the Tinder DMs and whatever, he doesn't need to treat you right. You're going to hook up with him anyway, in all probability. You know, and they don't want to date you long term. This is where it gets really confused, guys, is because women love to say this crap, but when you apply it in reality, they don't respond to it whatsoever. You see?
It's, why can't I have both of those things? And it's like, I've kind of hit this point that it's like, I don't even want to entertain anyone or anything. And throughout my experience, if I don't meet someone, get to know them a little, and just like kind of instantly have a connection, I know that it's not going to work out.
Yeah, so if you meet with the dude and you're not attracted to him, it's not going to work out. And you might say, right, you might be watching this and you might say, well, Taylor, that's fair, right? The woman, you know, she's looking for somebody who she's attracted to. Yes, that is a fair thing. However, these women's perception of what they deserve is not grounded in reality. Okay? They're not attracted to the average man because they've been screwing with dudes on dating applications who are way out of the league of what they can actually obtain. That's the difference, okay? You know, this is like a dude saying, this is the equivalent of a man who smells bad, okay? Doesn't have any social skills, not very attractive, and all of the list, right? It's the equivalent of a man who fits all of that criteria saying that he doesn't want to date women who are not at least supermodel quality now. But it doesn't work like that. You have to realize where you're at. And this is what women don't want to accept. Reality. They don't want to accept that maybe you can't actually lock down these men. Maybe these men are actually above your level. And I hate to use language like that, but that's just what describes the situation, unfortunately.
And at first I was like, I'm asking for too much. it's a lot to ask for to meet someone and just instantly have a spark, but I feel like it's not. Like, the only time it's ever made me feel anything, it's been like that. And it's like, at this point, I kind of feel like I would almost rather have the, like, toxic, bad energy where we're fighting all the time, because it means that I care. There's something worth fighting about. Obviously, I would rather have that not fighting all the time. I would rather have a healthy relationship and feel the fucking feelings, but it feels impossible to have. Like, I am in my mid-20s, and I feel like a stupid teenager because I don't know if I just can't have a healthy relationship. I don't know if I can't. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I wish I was never in love before, because I wouldn't know what it feels like.
Translation. Maybe I wish I didn't hook up with Chad, because now I'm addicted to that and I won't quote unquote settle for anything less. And so what she's really describing, by the way, when she's describing these two situations, is she's saying, okay, I could get with a Chad, but I have to fight and do all of this crap and go through all this toxic crap because he won't give me a relationship. Okay? Versus I can have a relationship, but I'm not attracted to the men that I can actually have relationships with. You know, welcome to reality. And to answer this woman's question, I'm not sure if it was much of a question or a statement at the end there, but she says, you know, I'm probably going to be alone forever, essentially. Do I even know what a healthy relationship is? Like, am I ever going to get into a healthy relationship? And the answer is probably not. Because if this woman has a healthy relationship, it's typically going to be with a man that she's not actually attracted to. And so she will sabotage it so that she can go out there and hook up with more Chads and continue her behavior. But guys, we're going to be leaving it there. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments. Make sure you guys take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Peace.